In this episode, we'll be looking at Matthew chapter 12 to chapter 16. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been following along, then welcome back. Let's dive right into the Word of God. Matthew chapter 12. In this chapter, we see Jesus healing on the Sabbath day, which caused the Pharisees to be even more upset with him because he was breaking the law by healing on the Sabbath. The Pharisees wanted an excuse to accuse Jesus of breaking the law, and this was it. They said that it was not lawful to heal on the Sabbath. So they asked Jesus, "Why do you do such things?" Or they asked his disciples, "Why is your teacher doing these things?" His answer to them was, "Isn't it lawful to do good on the Sabbath day?" Or they asked, "Isn't it lawful to save life?" The Pharisees were looking for an excuse to trap Jesus, but Jesus turned their own logic against them and showed them that they were wrong. So in verses 24 to 28 we read, "But when the Pharisees gathered themselves together, Jesus knew it and said to them, 'Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites who pay a tenth of a mint and dill and cumin and neglect the more important matters of the law, justice and mercy and faith. It was necessary to do these things, while not neglecting those blind guides who filter out a gnat and swallow a camel. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you clean the outside of the cup and platter, but inside you are full of greed and wickedness. You fools! Did not he who made the outside make the inside also? But give as alms those things that are within, and behold, everything is clean." Then he said to them, "Beware of false prophets, who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. You will recognize them by their fruits. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles? Even so, every good tree bears good fruit. A bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, by their fruits you will know them. So, just as a tree is identified by its fruit, so are people identified by their actions. Good tree produces good fruit, and a bad tree produces bad fruit." In chapters 13 and 14, we see the parables of the sower and the tares, the mustard seed, the leaven, the treasure hidden in the field, the pearl of great price, the fish net, and the grain and the bundle. We also see the death of John the Baptist, which came about because Herod Antipas had married Herodias, who was his brother's wife. So God raised up Elijah to be a prophet for John the Baptist, warning him in advance not to marry a woman. But Herod didn't listen. Chapter 15, verses 1 to 9. We see the Pharisees and scribes questioning Jesus' disciples for not washing their hands before eating. This was something that the Pharisees did according to the tradition of men. But Jesus said to them, "Why do you also break the commandment of God? Because of your tradition. For God commanded, saying, 'Honor your father and your mother, and whoever curses his father or his mother, let him be killed.' What you say, whoever shall say to his father or his mother anything, 'I take the help that I might give you to God.' What is that?" And in Matthew 15:19 verse 19, "For this God commanded that out of your heart men may not eat unclean food. It is what comes out of the mouth that defiles a man. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, fornication, theft, murder, adultery, coveting, and wickedness, deceit, lewdness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things are done from within and defile a man." So Jesus taught that it is what comes out of the heart that defiles a man, not what goes into the stomach. What goes into the stomach can be cleansed, but what comes out of the mouth is defiling. In Matthew 16, we have the feeding of the 4,000 and the teaching about the leaven of the Pharisees. And in verses 11 to 12, we read, "And they understood not the parable which he spoke to them. But when he had called his disciples to himself, he explained all things to them. And none of them understood this either. So he sent them, warning them to be careful not to take the leaven of the Pharisees and said." And in verse 16, we read, "But he said to them, Peter, Simon, son of Jonah, are you also without understanding?" And Peter said, Speak to your servants, Lord, for we do not understand. So Jesus told him, Are you also so slow to understand? Do you not perceive that the sons of the same Father, one is obedient, and the other is disobedient? That the kingdom of heaven has been taken away from the one who would not receive it, and given to the one who is obedient to it. So Jesus teaches us that the kingdom of heaven is taken from those who are disobedient and given to those who are obedient. Obedience is required in order to enter the kingdom of heaven. In verses 21 to 28, we see Jesus speaking of persecution for righteousness' sake. He says, Whoever desires to come after me must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever wants to be saved must thus be holy and believe in the truth. For this, the Son of Man will be delivered into the hands of sinful men, will be delivered up to them, and crucified. But I am resurrected on the third day. But woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would be better for that man if he had never been born. And when he is left alone, he will begin to curse the day on which he was born, and he will wish that he had never been born. So those who follow Christ will face persecution for righteousness' sake. It's a high calling and a high price to pay, but our commitment to Christ should be unwavering. Finally, in verses 28 to 29, we read, And Jesus sent the crowd away and came into the house. And his disciples came to him asking, Explain to us the parable of the tares. And why do you speak to them in parables? Jesus answered them and said, Truly I say to you that many will be last, who will be first, and first, who will be last. They desired a sign from him, but he told them the parable of the fig tree. When it has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So you will know when the Son of Man will come. So just as the fig tree blossoms, you will know when the kingdom of heaven is near. For just as in the days before the flood they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and did not know until the flood came, and took them all away. Likewise, the coming of the Son of Man will be. So Jesus tells us to watch and be ready, just as Noah was prepared for the flood. If you enjoyed this episode, then please leave us a like and comment down below. Subscribe to join us back here every single week for a new video. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.